Hi, this is Scott Hartnell, and you're listening to Nasty Knuckles.
You're listening to Nasty Knuckles, the Hockey Outlaws podcast, with your hosts, Derek Nasty Settlemyre and former Philadelphia Flyer enforcer Riley Cote, as they go behind the scenes with your favorite NHL players. Time to face off.
All right, welcome back. What's happening, Nasty?
What's up, Cudsy?
Oh,
How you doing? Oh, Cuddles, Rigarelia. What's up, my buddy?
I love the little comb over. Get the bangs going today.
Do I have bangs?
Well,
it's just
spiky
the gel
bangs.
didn't hold. I'm still dealing with this cut. You know, you gotta battle through when you don't get when you don't get the cut you were looking for. You kind of got to battle through. I guess I could wear a hat, which I probably should have.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I got some new sick Nasty Knuckles hats. But
yes,
anyway.
The bangs are looking good, though. I like it nice and crispy.
Well, the beard's not too crispy right now. We got to trim that thing up. You were like Tuna. My buddy Tuna, our buddy Tuna.
Oh, yeah, Tuna.
Actually,
not quite Tuna length.
It's not quite Tuna
I
length.
actually trimmed it up the other day. So.
You did trim it?
Yeah. You know.
Looks good.
Looking good for the pod.
Oh, yeah, you got
it
to.
up.
Sometimes you got to.
So what's going on in your world, Nast?
Not much, buddy. Just, little. We had a week off
from
men's league. Big playoff game this weekend. I know you've guaranteed 100% you will be there. Playing our good friends, the Blue Devils. Just some youth hockey last weekend, Elvis. Played a really good team on Saturday. Almost got in a tilly with the other team's coach.
Oh,
actually,
yeah?
You
did?
You know, I'm a lover, not a fighter, but, well, my God. They were
1-5?
Yeah, long story. Long story short, they're a really good team, AAA team. We're the minor AAA team. We were playing these guys, and they were really good. And Christ, Elvis had 9 saves in the first 3 minutes.
Oh wow!
Yeah, first shot went in, 2-on-1, boom, in the net. Gotta have that kid. You can't eat lunch today, but kidding around. But the coach was one of those guys standing up, screaming at the 13-year-old referees.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like,
I love those coaches.
I walk by the bench, and I'm like, may I use this profanity? I just said, shut up, man. Like, come on, dude. Like, it's 9-0 in the middle of the second period. And then he was blowing me kisses. And I actually have video of it. I'll have to get it to Baller. I'm like,
brutal.
Dude. And he's like 6'3", like this big guy. And then
pathetic.
the other coach goes, what's it to you? I was like, well, it's just embarrassing, man. It was like my kids out there. They were complaining about one of our kids may have whacked another one in the back of the leg, but the kid waited 5 seconds to go down, and he's just laying on the ice, and the ref's screaming, or the coach is screaming, and I'm like, dude, just enough.
Standard youth hockey drama.
Yeah, for no reason. I mean, if he is the guy that orchestrates that team and is truly the coach, he does a really good job because they were a good team. They moved the puck. They had some really good players on their team, but like, do you really need to scream at the 13-year-old referees the whole game when you're ended up winning? Probably 16-17-0.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's crazy.
Unnecessary.
So other than that,
you all right?
I ran.
You gonna be okay?
I ran. Now listen, I'm being gentle with you, so don't. No. I wasn't stressed. I got to be gentle with you. So we've gone over that, but we'll leave that.
Get you a chill pill. Maybe you can visit Cureleaf and get some goodies.
Well, like my socks.
Oh, look at those things. Cureleaf socks.
Oh yeah, our
Love
good buddies.
Yes, they are our good buddies. I did want to mention 2 weeks ago at our game there at the Wells Fargo against the Lumberjacks.
Oh yeah,
we talked about our buddy in the pipes on the other side that was chirping and giving me shit. And I got to say, he reached out, classy move, and apologized. Just acknowledged that he was a little excited.
Yeah.
Playing the role as he normally does. I don't mind the chirping, but it was just somewhat crossing the line.
Your cage a little bit.
Dominic from the Lumberjacks.
Yes.
Classy move. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was cool.
Because we're having fun. I mean, I obviously have thick skin and can take some shit, but it's men's league. There's a fine line of poking me a little bit and then just or poking anybody. I mean, at some point he's got to lay off and just play the game. But I get it. He's a competitive guy.
Yep.
Just as you are, Nast.
Yeah, I don't really talk like that.
You don't?
Well, I can't back it up. I can't a little bit, but I can't back it up. So.
Well.
I did score right after he took my legs out, though.
Yeah, he did. Unfortunately, we didn't win the game. But
no, we did not. But it was cool. It was
good.
cool. He did reach out. That was awesome, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And then moving into just the Flyers world of say disappointment after disappointment. I mean, they're hanging in there, but I mean, 2 wins in the last 18 games is tough.
It's tough.
I don't know what else really to say. 27 out of 32 teams. I don't see it getting any better.
It's just they're right there. I mean, it's like Tort said the other night in his post game. They honestly are. You can't deny the fact they're in these games.
They are 100%.
It's just finding that way to, not let the one goal in and get the goal. I mean, it's not easy, but at least we have gotten some players back.
Yep.
And you've seen, quickly Morgan Frost the other night in Arizona, him Tippett and JVR, they were really good. And that's nice to see because I feel like we've talked about this before with Frosty. You just got to let him play, man.
Yeah,
and he's got to play with skilled guys. And, they're right there. Like, that's a game probably you got to win, that Arizona game.
I agree. I fully agree with that.
But they're in every game.
Yeah.
They are in the games, but it's got to be so frustrating. It is for all of us, right? Like you feel bad for the boys, and they're playing their balls off. But I don't know how it's gonna get a lot better,
Yep.
But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see, and we go into more depth on this with our guest today, Scott Hartnell. So, some nitty gritty, some inside scoops,
Yes.
thoughts. And I think that's him.
That might be him.
All right, so we're going to jump right into it. Episode 97, presented to you by Cureleaf. Welcome to Cureleaf, a medical marijuana dispensary. Whether you're a longtime patient or you're just getting acquainted to this incredible plant, Cureleaf of Pennsylvania is honored to guide you along your medical marijuana journey. Have questions? Google Cureleaf PA. Stop by one of our 18 locations across the Commonwealth or visit cureleaf.com/locations. Let's go, Nast.
Let's go.
Welcome back. I'm Riley Cote.
And I'm Derek Settlemyre, and this week we are so fortunate to have again our great friend. This guy's a legend now. Like, he was a legend before, but now he's a TV star. We finally tracked him down, Riggs. Works on the NHL Network as an analyst, does an unbelievable job there, and also NBC Sports with the Flyers. Mr. Bird Dog, Scott Hartnell, what's up, brother?
How you guys doing here for the hat trick?
Yeah, 3.0.
You've had a few hat tricks.
A few.
Yeah.
I think 9, actually. So
Who's counting?
Not that I was counting there, folks, at all.
How many Gordie Howes?
Maybe only 1 or 2,
Yeah?
actually, yeah. But the reason I know that NHL Network, they always talk about stats, and they give you all these stats before you go on the air, and they're talking about goalies that you always scored on. I'm like, and you're talking the mics, you're on set, you're like alive looking, so we're not talking. But I'm like, I wonder who I scored the most goals on. Literally, guy gets on the computer, Hartnell goal, most goals against goalie. Whatever he does, the search engine, that website that he uses pops up Marc-Andre Fleury.
Oh, way.
Wow.
Flower. Wow.
I thought it was DiPietro. And then he goes, you had 9 on him. And you go, you had 2 hat tricks against him. And I'm like, well, how many hat tricks did I? I just kind of talking to the stats guy. And he goes, you had 9. I'm like, oh, cool.
Wow.
It'd be a quick search for me.
Did you have a hattie ever? Maybe junior?
A junior, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
we were lights out in junior.
You were 16 years old, quarterback in the power play.
A man amongst boys.
Man amongst
Bird
boys,
Dog was a big man.
He was.
you
So
guys were junior.
Oh, yeah. So how you enjoying the gig? You've been doing it for some time now?
Yeah, it's been, I guess 2-3 years. I guess COVID kind of me and Taryn Hatcher, when we were doing it, we were on each other different islands. She was on the desk over here, and I was like
a mile away.
So it's come a lot. It's a lot different now from then. But yeah, I feel a lot more comfortable when you get on the air. The TV's rolling. I think I'm doing a better job of my personality coming out on air and. Talking about the plays and the games, and I've been fortunate enough to do some play-by-play stuff. Not play-by-play, but color when Jonesy's out of town, when he's on vacation. So a couple of those games. So it's different than playing. Obviously, you kind of wish sometimes you're still out there battling and grinding and that stuff. But it's cool to cover a team and. you got to go through some down years to get to the top, and unfortunately, it's been since I've been a analyst, they've been kind of the shit. So.
Yeah, that's like we were just saying right before you knocked on the window.
Yeah. Thanks for letting your guest stay outside for 10 minutes.
23 degrees.
That's why my teeth are chattering at all.
Well, we were just saying, when we started the pod, ever since it's just been tough sledding, but hopefully brighter days to come.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you do a hell of a job. How much is it just getting reps in, and then how much of it is like actually like being prepared? There's obviously a combination of both.
Yeah,
like,
you obviously watch or you read some notes on the team that they're playing coming up. The Devils are coming up here in a couple, or tomorrow, I guess, and how the start that they've had, and obviously you're talking about Jack Hughes and Heischer and Brad and all these guys that have come in there and are drafted by them, and kind of turning into absolute stars, and obviously their team is benefiting from that, and so it's easy to talk about them. Some teams you don't see very often, like San Jose Sharks coming in.
Right. Yeah,
I'm not staying up till 1 o'clock to watch those games, but I got to be up at 7 with the kids in the morning. So you do a little bit more kind of reading and research and watching highlights and stuff, but it's fun. It's wake up in the morning, watch the NHL on the fly, and see all the nice goals, see McDavid dangling 15 guys before he scores. So it's fun to be in this business, because you guys know how great it is and how exciting it is.
Yeah, for sure.
No, it is, and you do a hell of a job. I think your personality. We talked about this before. You know, it's super fitting. I do wish the Flyers were a little better, so we could actually be a little bit more optimistic. I mean, may as well start there. I mean, what is your perspective on the current state of the team and the direction this thing is going?
Well, there's only one direction really they can go, and that's up, right? And it's been a couple tough years that we just talked about, but I feel like they're grinding, they're battling, they're competing. It's not like they're not in these games.
Right.
You look at Colorado yesterday. I know they got a couple of their big boys out, but 3-2 it ends. They have a few chances to score late. And that's kind of been the MO, right? They score the game before in Phoenix. Phoenix is not a great team, but they're in those games battling. They have beat a couple. They beat Tampa Bay. They've beat New Jersey early in the season, so they flashes of brilliance and great play. But then it just seems like there's one or two plays where there's a brain cramp. There's a maybe not an NHL player playing, makes a mistake in the back of the net, and a lot of these games there's a lot of empty netters too.
True.
Ovi had 2 the one night. Columbus had 2, I think, the week before that. So they're not there yet. I think that's pretty plain to see. But I think there's brighter days ahead, and you just need more from a lot of the guys too, and a couple big injuries too that hurt the team and kind of slotting everyone properly.
Yeah, we've talked obviously a lot about it. It's different this year. I know we're not winning games, but we are, like you just said, in the games, and it's not a game where you're like, oh, well, it's over, because the boys are battling, and you knew Torts coming in here, guys were not going to be taking nights off, because as you told us before, you get a guy taking a night off, you'd be sitting right there on the bench with him,
Yeah, we call go ahead, sorry.
No, that was what I was going to say.
Yeah, no, we called it getting piped in Columbus, right? And you didn't want to get piped. You didn't want to have a bad first period, because you might not see the ice in the second or third. He comes in after periods, and he just throws like a dartboard or darts at the dartboard, and there's your new line combinations, right, to try and get guys going. He piped Hazy and TK earlier in the year in a tight game, right, and had a couple power plays in the third, and he could have easily got, hey guys, go out there, but he wanted to say, boys, you're our best players. I'm setting an example for you. That was the first, kind of eye-opening thing, I think, for those two guys, and for all the other guys on the team thinking, man, I don't want, it's cool to get that ice time, but I don't want to be on the wrong side of Torts, right? So their work ethic has been incredible in practice. Watched a few of those, over the course of the year so far, the battle drills, and they are competing. It's just there's always one or two mistakes, and that could just come back to bite them in the ass, and that's just, I think, a product of not having a full NHL lineup, really.
Right.
Yeah. And how do you see this getting better? I mean, you get healthier. there's still a lack of scoring, right? I mean, if you're just being honest about the actual team, I mean, is this something that you just have to ride out this year? Just build the foundation with Torts, get the identity back, the culture back, kind of like laying the groundwork almost for next year?
Yeah, well, there's Farabee, who's had, I think, an off year. He's got, 3-4 goals this year.
Yeah.
He's came off massive neck surgery, for a disc, right? So you can't really, he's getting his feet wet back in the NHL, getting the speed. It's, hopefully he kind of finds his stride again. You got Coots, he's got 20-30 goals a year. Cam Atkinson's 20-30 goals a year. You can go right through those guys, and that's the difference between tying and winning these games in overtime. They've lost to 7 games in overtime.
Right.
Those guys, the best players, they're out in overtime, so that should fix that problem. And I hope the best for obviously Coots and Cam and those guys, that they can get a clean bill of health and kind of build from there. And all these teams, I think I've heard Pittsburgh, before they won their cups, they were last in the league, and then they got Marc-Andre Fleury, they got Crosby, they got Malkin, right? And those lean years, this is actually it was the Avalanche. They were like dead last in the league, and they got McKinnon and McCarr and all those guys. 5 years later, after being like last in the league, they win the Stanley Cup. And, I know it's not that easy, and you need things to fall into place and get him a car, at number 4, who is an absolute...
He's okay.
Off the charts. Oh, my goodness.
Insane.
How different would this team be with that draft pick instead of, Patrick? And, I know he's not feeling great health-wise either. So that right there is a total organizational game changer, right? And people come to watch that guy play. And he's,
no doubt.
We saw it last night, is absolutely phenomenal. So Torts, I think, is great. He's setting the tone. He did it in Columbus. Columbus was a losing franchise, a losing organization. You were just happy to show up and collect your paychecks, and he came in, and it was from day one. Everyone was on point. Everyone was on alert that this guy's changing the culture, changing the mentality of not being losers. In no other better words to say that.
Right.
We're losing all the time.
Right.
We're calling us the Columbus Lose Jackets. in the locker room, and because we started the year 0-8, and that's when he came in. So,
man, wow.
I know it's funny to say you try and make light of a bad situation, but that's what we were calling ourselves. And he comes in and he's like, "F that, boys! No, we're changing this thing around." And that next year, I think we had one of the best. We were almost President's Cup trophy winners that year. We were maybe 4 or 5 points off, and so what he's doing here, I can see it already in their work ethic. I can just see it in guys' demeanors on the ice. You look at Zach McEwen, who went down early, came back. He's playing unreal. Cam York going down for a quarter of the season, third of the season, comes up and he's playing unbelievable, and that's what you want, right? He could kind of say, whatever, I'm not, this guy coach doesn't like me, screw you, I'll get traded, this and that, I don't want to be here anyway. But this is a great opportunity for Cam York, and what we've seen in those first few games, it's like, wow, he wants to play it, but he's making a good choice, or a good few games here to make a stand. Like, okay, I'm going to be the number one, and Torts is like, that's what I want. But if he gets a little cocky, he might be going back down for another cup of tea. But and he's not afraid to sit guys. He's not afraid to take guys off power plays, take some ice time away from guys, and it's fair for everyone.
Right.
And it doesn't matter who the heck you are, and it's his decision. It's not Chuck, it's not Danny, it's not anyone. It's his decision, and he believes the way that he's running the team is the best for the team and for the city, and that's what I love about Torts, and that's why he kind of had my endorsement before they hired him.
Yeah, this is a great hire. I mean, we talked about it a million times.
Yeah.
We obviously touched on Torts before with you before he was here, but we knew you would agree with that.
Yeah.
With that hire, it was great.
Yeah. I respect what he's done, what he's doing. Obviously, you mentioned getting Coots back, Atkinson, Farabee, jacking his point production up.
Yep.
I mean, even if these guys are back in the lineup healthy, they're winning more games. Where do you see the Flyers slotting in this season? Right now, they're 27 of 32 teams. Like, obviously, won 2 of their last 18. A healthy team. Like, where are the Flyers in this mix?
I think they'd be probably middle of the pack. Maybe fighting for a playoff season, playoff chance for the Stanley Cup, but. Yeah, of all years, this is probably one year you want to be bad, right? Everyone knows that the draft is stacked, right? Connor Bedard sweepstakes, everyone's trash for Connor and all that stuff. And I think the next 3, 4, or 5 guys, so I've heard, I don't know them, but their style of play and their heavy talent, high end talent, and you scoop one of those guys and you bring them in with a young, Frost's got to be better, and Farabee and Cam and Coots is healthy. How good Coots is defensively, draws at the end of the game. You miss that guy. They don't have that guy.
100%.
They don't have a guy winning 60% of draws. When you need to win them, right?
Yeah.
So it's all those things factor in. So how good will they be? I don't know. They could be fighting for a top of the Metro. Who knows? I can't really.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but I think if you add a piece or two, you get guys back. Ryan Ellis, if he comes back, and I know he's going through a surgery and trying to feel better. And hey, if he comes back next year, like who knows? It's like how good he is getting pucks out of the zone and the first pass.
Yeah,
and the tape.
exactly.
Those are hard qualities to find in a top defenseman, and he's definitely one of those.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: since you brought Ellis up. Man, he hasn't played in 2 years. How hard? Like you guys played in NHL. How hard would that be to come back? Obviously he's a very good hockey player, but to not play for 2 years.
Yeah, he's never been fast.
Right.
He's always been knows where to pass.
Smart.
Great stick.
Yeah.
Not afraid to block a shot. I played with him in Nashville last year, and just an incredible shot from the power play on the power play from the point, getting pucks through. Shooting at a lot of defensemen, they just blast it right in the pads, and they're fucking playing defense. He knows where to shoot it to get a tip. I'm going to the net on the short side. He shoots at the short side. That's just being so hockey smart, and he's that. So I think that 2 years off, obviously it'd be a lot of conditioning, a lot of puck touches, things like that. So if it does if he does miraculously get better, I think it would be a little bit of a process to get back to the NHL speed and things like that, but he was never fast, but he was always in the right position, always making the right plays, and always making the right shots offensively. And so I love the way he played with Nashville when I was there, and it's just unfortunate he's only played 3 games, I think,
3 or 4, and they were good ones.
Over a point a game.
Yeah, they were good ones, but unfortunately for him, obviously it's not funny, but you feel bad for the guy.
Oh man, that's
poor guy's on the bench opening night, and they're just booing him like he wants to be hurt, But
no kidding.
But I kind of liked how he kind of chuckled at it. What are you gonna do? But speaking about that, what ifs? But we got to talk about Carter Hart's play a little bit here. He's been amazing, and I think some of these games we may not have won if he wasn't so,
especially early on.
Early on, is what I mean.
Yeah. I think everyone was, I talked about just being on their toes, alert. He didn't play a game in exhibition, right?
Yeah,
he comes in there.
He should never play.
Should never practice again. Never practice. And he was a huge reason. Obviously, I think you look at the expected goals saved by all those advanced stats, and he is just through the roof on every single one of them, 7-0 or whatever he started. And now it's kind of not back to reality, but his play has probably dropped from what it was at the beginning of the year, and I think everyone else has dropped as well, especially defensively, and the big turnovers, the big blemishes that guys make. Carter too, he's letting some soft goals.
He'll tell you,
one
I was
behind
with him
the
that
net.
night we had after the game, and I'm like, what? He goes, man, it's on me. He goes, I know the boards are lively.
So did it hit the referee before it hit the boards?
Now that I don't know.
I'd like to ask him that because I watched every replay, and the ref goes trying to get out of the way, and I think it hit him, and then it went kind of more of a direct line, and then it bounced out. So I think it kind of caught him off guard hitting the ref, because if it was the way it was going, I thought it was going to hit the corner boards and go right behind the net. That's why. You kind of saw it. So if you watch it again, look at the ref. It kind of tries to get out of the way, and I don't know if it hit him to try to change that angle. But anyway, that's about that.
Yeah, and even we've talked about Felix too. I feel like he's played well too. It's just, I thought he played well again last night.
Goaltending hasn't been the issue. It's
not.
It's a lack of goal scoring and the lack of chances, and the beginning of that second period yesterday, they hardly had a shot, I think, till I don't know, 5 minutes, and then had a couple good shifts, and then back to nothing. So it's that consistency. Torts always talks about momentum, and it is huge. He loves to use that word. You got to have the momentum. You got to take it away on a huge penalty kill. The power play, you can't give momentum to the other teams, and it's definitely when they have it, they're buzzing. At the end of the game, last game in Colorado, they're chances and goalie pulled, and you're like, oh my God, they're going to tie this up again. And unfortunately they didn't, but that's the way they got to play that desperation hockey. Try and play it for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Where do you see, some of these guys that have value on, say, a contender like JVR or someone that's just, say, dispensable towards trade deadline? You see these guys moving? Or?
Yeah, Bronner got moved last year. A depth guy for the Rangers. JVR would be a great pickup. He misses 6 weeks. I know he had the conditioning. His legs look great. He's always around. He's always around the net guy. You know him.
Yeah.
He's always tipping pucks. He's got great hand. I watched him at practice the day before his first game back, and out of like 30 shots, he tipped 28 of them. Backhand, forehand, doing his thing. So he would be a great pickup for a team that has some cap space, obviously, and he could go front of the second unit power play on a new team. Racking my brain, who else is available? I don't know. I don't know if they want to make a change. Maybe.
I read somewhere Hollywood, they're saying, but here again, I don't know. He's got a point a game. So if you're going to move a guy like him, not saying they are, just I've read that, and that doesn't mean anything, as you know. You read things all the time, but in my head, I'm like, well, what are you going to get for him?
Yeah.
I don't know. But
he's got 3 or 4 years left at 7 sheets, so that's a lot of money, but it's not like he's not playing like a $7 million player.
Right?
We were talking about that before, that's...
And he's a great guy.
He's
great
awesome
teammate.
in the locker room. I think I had told you, I felt like for years we were missing a Hartsy in the room.
Yeah.
And he kind of, you guys compliment one another. You're a lot alike. And to me, we were talking about this earlier, if you get a point a game, you make $7 million in the National Hockey League. And some guys don't get that and make that.
Some guys make it 8 and they're
exactly.
getting 60 points, right?
Yeah,
25 goals and 35 assists. It's 8 minimum nowadays, right? And that's just the product of the cap going up and the minimum that the teams need to make. And so it's a great time to be a solid NHL player. But I think everyone is probably on the table. Right, there's really no untouchables in my mind.
Right.
But do you want to mix with the room? I guess with Hazy. Do you want to TK? I've heard things about him. Provy as well. There's been rumors circling around about him that he's a 2-3 on a lot of teams. He's a number 1 here. So it's can you get something that's really going to make your team better in 5 years, or would you hang on to him and watch him be in his prime in the late 20s, early 30s, and him be a real force for your team? So that's the questions that GMs have to answer, right? And you have a plan, and sometimes these plans with GMs, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're stuck with bad contracts. Sometimes you're welcoming all these UFAs into a team. So it's a crazy world, that side of the business.
Yeah, for sure. You were talking about we're talking about the points, lacking some points. But what'd you think of G signing in Ottawa? In his hometown.
Yeah, good for him, right? I think everyone rumored it, right, or heard the rumors, and he kept it pretty tight-lipped. I didn't really know about it till he signed, but I think for him getting traded last year after his playing his 1,000th game, which was unbelievable, right?
Yeah,
that whole day and ceremony for him, and how great of a leader he was for here, and to go back there, you're like, oh, it makes sense, right? His family, his wife's family, grandkids, grandparents with the kids, and so it's pretty neat for him. He's had a heck of a start. It's not like we all know he can still play.
No,
maybe he can't boogie like he did when he was 21, but he can still, just like a Ryan Ellis, still make the plays and still make the passes. Still win the draws, right, when he needs to. So
we were talking about earlier with Cooch, you're missing that. You're missing G too.
Yeah.
That guy. I mean, how many times we talked about this before? G having to take a face-off on the left side and turning his stick around, taking it left-handed and win it straight back. It was insane, man. But, I just was happy for him. I was kind of hoping he might go somewhere where they have a better chance to win. But I get it. I get
but
why.
But they got some studs there
They
too,
do.
right? And I think same thing. Lack of goaltending, maybe some young kids making mistakes, and a streaky team too. They started out great, then they lost 7 in a row, and they've been playing a lot better lately, and one of those teams that probably won't make it again, but for G, he's got to fire that leadership into that room, and how to bring it every night, and I'm sure they'll figure that out there in Ottawa. It's a good group of young guys.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to ask you about we were talking about moving guys at the deadline, G, last year. Do you think that the Flyers maybe should have moved him before they did to get more? Do you think there's a lot of rumblings around the timing of it, maybe he was more valuable had they have moved him, say, before, or do you think that the timing of it was ideal and played out the way it was supposed to?
I think the whole season was bad right from the get-go, right? And you 2 10-game losing streaks, and then G looked ahead and my 1000th game is the day before the trade deadline, and you don't want to get traded too early, I would guess. Just you want to pick the team that's the best team at the trade deadline, or who needs a spot. We talked to him a week before, I think, the deadline there. I was like, what are you thinking, bud? And he's like, I know a few teams are offering or whatever, and obviously he has full control what he wanted to do, right? And I'm not sure if he handcuffed the Flyers, saying I want to just go here and not go there, and kind of stymied kind of what they could get from Florida there. I think that was his team, but it is what it is. That was his right, his decision, unfortunately he didn't win. I think the other team was Colorado that was kind of looking at him, and so you roll the dice, I guess, and just it didn't work out to it doesn't really work out for everyone. It worked out for Chemo, it worked out for Ray Borick, and
Mark Strider worked out for going to Pitt.
So one of those, it happens once in a blue moon, right? So it's too bad, but hey, he's got a few years left in him to try and get that Stanley Cup.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry for the quick break. Just a quick shout out to our sponsor, DLI Commercial, a premier commercial construction and building maintenance company offering support at every phase. Thank you for your support. Check them out at DLI Commercial for all your construction needs. Back to the show. There's a couple other guys around the league that are in similar situations, like Patrick Kane and Taves with Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean,
those guys are going somewhere. Yeah. Right? Yeah. We heard Taves.
Big Apple.
Yeah. The Rangers. How
Can you
good?
imagine?
Oh. He would light that city
Oh my
up,
God!
Right?
No
and
doubt.
with the 10 and a half, whatever is cap hit, you trade. Someone picks up half, someone picks up half, and then it's only a $2.5 million hit to the Rangers, say, if one of those guys goes somewhere, and I'm not sure if Taser wants to go, or I think he's getting less productive as the years go on, which is part of human nature, I guess. But the JVR's there. One of those guys, if he can keep his points up and him skating good, there's going to be a few hungry teams that going to reach out for the Flyers for sure, and why wouldn't you?
Exactly.
JVR is no, I want to stay here. You're a free agent at the end of the year, buddy. Go try and win a Stanley Cup. So that's a no-brainer for me. And I know there's young kids involved and stuff, but it's you can make all that stuff work out.
Yeah. And, a little bit different situation, but a guy like Connor McDavid, obviously unbelievable, him and Draisaitl, I mean, putting up numbers like it's going out of style, but the team just can't move the needle. I mean, how long do you just, as a guy like that, do you stick in a situation like that?
Well, they're still winning some games. I know they're right on the cusp of playoffs or not, but if you do eliminate one or both of those guys, you're done in a playoff series, right? And that's how they matched up against Colorado. Colorado was deeper, way better defenseman, and a hotter goalie. That kind of they had the old brooms out there for that sweeperoo. But who wouldn't want those guys, right? But McDavid, he's going to be making his next contract. He's going to be making $25 million. If the cap, I think, is going up quite a bit in the next 4 or 5 years. So he's going to hit that perfectly, right? So what team or you can't really kind of, what's the word when you try and tamper with teams? You're like, can you free up $30 million? I'm coming in hot.
Well, if you're as a player, you guys both obviously played. I know you're making that much money, but he wants to win. Like, do you finally get to that point where, like, what do they do? What can they do? And, they gave Nurse all that money.
Yeah.
That could be ended up one of the worst signings.
Yeah, right.
Someone was chirping him.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
I can't remember who that was.
It was 2 days ago.
Yeah, during a game, they were like, you do nothing out here. I kind of felt bad for him. $9 million. But that's a heavy, heavy contract. I'm not sure he's quite worth that money.
No, he's probably a $6 million player.
Yeah, right?
Probably a couple million too high. But who else wanted to go to Edmonton to? They always have to overpay.
And what's he going to say? No.
Yeah,
exactly. It's not his fault. Good for him, man.
No, I hate money. Just
take
a couple sheets off a year.
Everyone used to
says no one ever.
Yeah, everyone used to shit on Andrew McDonald, and I loved AMAC. The Nate, I called him, and I'm like, people would be like, he ain't worth $5 million. I was, what was he supposed to say? No? No, here, give me 3.
Yeah.
What? I mean, it's not the player's fault, but back to my question is, like, as a player, like, how long?
Well, you could do what Paul Kariya did when he signed in Colorado. He signed for $1 million 1 year, right? He didn't accept his QO in Anaheim, and then he signed with Timu in Colorado. He didn't win a Stanley Cup, but it was a $1 million deal. And then we signed him in Nashville, I believe. They're like 02 or something like that. But anyway, I don't know. Do you want to go somewhere with, Panarin and Zibanejad and all these guys in a few years and try and win there for $5 million? He can probably afford a couple years, but at the same time, you want to make as much money as you can,
100%.
But you need to have the support system around you too. The guys that. Draisaitl, he looks way underpaid. The deal that he got.
Yeah, what do you like? Yeah, so just those two alone are going to take up so much of your cap, right? I mean, and they are worth it.
Yeah,
they are worth it. I mean, I don't know.
That's when you need some young players, drafted players to come in and be the sneaky third, fourth line guys that have the big goals. Every year there's the Stanley Cup champions. They have that third and fourth line that score a goal a game or 2 goals in one game when it's a tight game, and you can't just always rely on your big boys, even though those guys are like the biggest boys in the world right now. So will they win? I hope they do win, just because it could just shut everyone up. And McDavid has won a cup, just like Ovi when he won. He's going to be the best goal scorer, never win a Stanley Cup. He put the team first for that year, and
he sure did.
And look what they did. So
yeah. Absolutely. Speaking of Ovi,
speaking of,
is he good? Is he still good?
He still seems to find the back of the net. 800, man.
800. Isn't that wild?
How many did we see? I know I saw quite a few from my spot on the bench on that one time.
Oh,
my God!
Around the horn.
Just like really special that I played almost all my career against this guy, right? And how mean he was, how fast he was, how aggressive, his shot, his dangles. It's not like he doesn't pass, right? Like the old shot pass, making plays to his teammates, playing with, Oshie and Backstrom his whole career, Kuznetsov. Like, it's one of the coolest core group of guys for me anyway. That's ever played in the NHL. They revolutionized the power play.
Right.
The 1-3-1. Like, I don't think that was back, early 2090s. They didn't have that old setup there.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's the thing everybody used to say. I remember Milbury on NBC when he was on there saying, "You know where they're going." Yeah, but if you come over here, Oshie's in the middle, right in front of the net. He's going to bury it, or you got Carlos up top.
Yeah,
Carlos
Santana out there bombing away.
Playing his guitar.
and then, if he bombs him there, he scores a couple. You got to front that shot. That opens up Ovi because it's a fake one-timer over to him. You go down low. Ovi's down the back door, wide open tap-ins. He's probably had 80 of those.
From Backstrom. Because that guy is a magician.
And then you screw around with all those other options. You got an Osh with a little bump pass in the middle there, top cheese. So it's a scary unit, right? And that's that could carry them into the playoffs and make a run as well too for him to get a second. But yeah, it's I think he had 4 empty netters in a row. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, and everyone's
Gratz told him said on, I guess it was on air, or I think it was, but he said, "Get those empty netters, man."
He's chasing.
I mean, he's chasing Gretz.
I think he's 3 behind for empty netter goals. I think Gretz has 56, I believe, and Ovi has 53, give or take a goal. I think he's 3 behind him. So it's pretty wild. Not only chasing Gretzky at 897, whatever it is, but he's chasing the empty netters as well. So just unbelievable.
It is amazing, man. I actually was pumped up last night when he got that, man. It was and he was mic'd. It was really cool, man. The boys jump off the bench. Like it was pretty cool.
Good energy for sure. I mean, you were a competitive, physical guy. Obviously, he's a specimen. I mean, you had to have had a few fuck you matches with this guy over time.
Yeah, nothing really pops out. But when he had the puck in the corner and just trying to come down and kind of maybe blindside him a little bit, and then he just like stands you up and like,
a little shimmy.
You're on the juice or something, buddy.
You're on the juice.
There's no way he takes 3 minute shifts and goes to the bench for 20 seconds and comes out for another deuce.
Right.
He's just a freak of nature. His shot, the release, the competitiveness, like that's not teachable. That stuff, right? I'm going to run you over, take the puck, and go score. Like you can't. No one really can do that. It's a special talent. I know the shot's ridiculous, but that energy and that passion he has to want to score goals after 18 years is
amazing.
Is flipping ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Some people hate Sally's. I love the fact that he celebrates every goal. He loves scoring, man.
Give her the old.
It's hot. That stick is hot. It's been hot for a long time.
It's hot a whole life, I'm thinking.
I remember quickly in the playoffs when we beat them in Game 7.
Yep. Loops.
Loops. Oh, what a goal, Loops. Oh, I loved it. But he came down in the third. I think we were up, and he tied. He came down the left side like he always did. Who
was our goalie? Was it
Marty Biron?
Yeah, and he
shot it, and I don't think anyone saw it. Marty definitely did because it was in the net before you. And I'm like, oh boy, because it was Game 7. I think that goal tied the game, but then we obviously found a way to win. It was awesome, but man, I've always enjoyed, like, every time we played Washington, I would get excited just because I was fortunate enough to be there, be that close. You guys played, but it was always so much fun to watch him.
Was Game 7? Was that when was it Thorson?
No, that was earlier.
That was Game 5.
It was earlier in the series.
It was in Washington. I remember
it was in Washington. Greener
5 on 4, 5 on 4, and then it went to 5 on 3 because he was just sitting there holding his nuts.
One exploded, and I'll never forget. Sal Rafa was taking him back, and I was right there at the end of the bench with the sticks, and I could hear poor Thor screaming.
Oh, he was.
And you know how loud it is in Wash. Like I could hear him, and then I went back, and I was like, "How's he doing?" And he's like, "Well, I said to him, hey, like, I know how you feel, buddy." And he goes, "No, you fucking don't!" My nuts exploded, like.
Oh, I had to rock the man diaper for the next.
Oh my God, man! And that guy wanted to play, wanted to come back.
I
I actually heated up his cup. He had one of those old school Jofas. And we opened it up and put this pad on it to have against his leg.
Oh, yeah, I remember that little.
It was unbelievable, that guy. He wanted to play,
beauty,
man.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Don't even want to think about that.
Makes me cringe.
Yeah, I know, right?
Man.
Speaking of freaks of nature, your old teammate, Yogs, playing another season. But we recently had Mike Rupp on.
Yeah.
And he was telling the story about the Winter Classic game.
The Jagr salute,
and the salute. You had some words for him in that game?
For Rupper?
Yeah.
Well, I worked with him at the NHL Network a couple of years ago, and it was right around when Jason Zucker scored for Pittsburgh this year, and they're wearing like the retro jersey, I think.
That's right. That's right.
And then Yogs came out with the Twitter video saying, "I love it. I love bringing it back to Sally's. Keep going." And then lo and behold, he's back playing again. 50 years old.
What do you have, 2 helpers the other night, ball or something like that? First game back.
So yeah, he's freaking nature. I played with some top NHL guys, Paul Correa and Pronger and those guys, but for sure Yogs is my number one. Just in playing with him, for most of the year and playoffs and the passes he would make and me making some sick passes to Yogs and him going in on a breakaway and scoring. Like, whoa, that's first assist on that. Nice goal.
Right? Hartsy, I was looking. They had the numbers up with all the goals and the points. Yogs didn't play for 5 years in the NHL.
Yeah.
You wonder because when he left, he was man, he was 120. Remember in New York? I don't know if you were with us yet, but I remember going to New York. No, you weren't with us yet. You were right after that. But, man, him and Nylander and Straka, we couldn't get the puck from them.
Oh, I remember.
They were circling around. The other two little guys were quick, and then Jagr would just hold it. And, that's trying to get the puck from him.
I think where was it before he went to Russia?
He was New York.
Was it New York? I was there one year
you
against
were,
him,
okay.
yeah, because there was an overtime. I remember it was like one of my coolest dangles. I was back in our own zone, last man. I went and picked the puck out of the corner, and there comes Jagr, like the big long stick coming at you. And I don't know if I did it on purpose, but I ended up like putting in between like his skates, like the littlest dangle to go through his skates, and he kind of went into the corner, and the puck was still there. I thought it was turnover for sure. I was like, better get on my horse and get going. I was like, I just dangled the best players.
Oh, that's awesome, man. But God, he's still going, man.
Oh man, it's impressive.
It's incredible. Yeah.
Freak. Who are your teams moving forward? Who do you like going the distance?
I like Colorado again.
Yeah.
And Tampa Bay on the other hand too. They're
again.
They've won what? I think they're haven't lost in regulation. 13 Stammers on another.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Wow.
something like that.
I know. Moose has
Unless they
6
lost
in a
the
row.
other night. Yeah, but anyway, those teams are so incredible. They're high in talent. Something the Flyers don't have, right? Is Stammer, Point, Hedman, Kucherov.
Exactly.
Go through that whole. That's
list,
five right. That's five right there.
Right.
That are way better than everyone else here.
All stars.
Yeah. And then you look at Colorado too. You got Makar, who's like playing with 2 extra guys on the ice, 5-on-5.
True.
And McKinnon, unreal. Rant and Landeskog's hurt. Wait till he comes back. So those are some high end players. You need those guys, but then they have some good support staff as well too. Through their lineup. So. Those would be
you
my
can see
two.
them both back.
Vasilevsky, sorry, I missed
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
right,
exactly.
Yeah. So
he's not bad. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Boston's been a big surprise this year with our buddy Jimmy Montgomery at the helm there. But did they finally lose a home game, or have they not lost it? They did lose a home game, yeah. But they've been on
Quite
fire
the run,
too.
eh?
Yeah, it's been an unbelievable run for them.
I think I picked them being out. That's how much I know as an NHL analyst. You win some, you lose some. You throw a couple darts every now and again. She goes in, but
it's crazy. Krejci coming back after a year, that's a huge addition. Yeah. So maybe I shouldn't. I'm not questioning Ellis when I say that. I mean, I just got to be tough as a an athlete to miss 2 years or something. But Krejci missed a year, and he's back. And Burge, he hadn't slowed down. And another guy we wanted to just pick your brain on a little bit is 35-year-old Sidney Crosby. This guy, he's unreal, man. 29 games, 38 points. 17 Gs. It's crazy, man.
It's funny, guys. At a wedding, Braden Shen's wedding this summer, he actually got married a couple of years ago because of COVID, and I think he couldn't get his money back from the Banff Springs there in Banff, the whole Fairmont Banff Springs. So he's like, I gotta have a party, right? And basically, it was a Stanley Cup reunion of St. Louis guys, but he's really good buddies with McKinnon and Crosby, so they were up there as well. McKinnon was in Cabo, I think the day before. He took a private jet from Cabo all the way into Calgary.
Sounds like the old bird dog. Sounds like some bird dog. PJ.
So it's just funny to hear these stories, right? And so me and Sid got talking for a while. We're at the same table, sitting right beside each other, and enemies back in the day, Flyers versus them, but just kind of bullshitting just about his life, career, girlfriend, this and that and the other thing. And I said, do you really love it still? Like at the end of my career, obviously it wasn't Sidney Crosby playing 20 minutes a night and scoring all that stuff, and I said, I just had enough. Like, my body felt fine playing, but I'm just like, just the mental part of it. And he goes, no. He goes, I love it. And I'm like, really? Like, how many times you putting on the skates over the season, over the summer, the training? And he goes, no, I love it. He goes, I'm going to play as long as I can.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's it's in their blood. It's in the DNA. He's so sick for a reason, just because he's blessed with this God-given ability and talent, but the competitiveness of him, the puck's there, like he's winning it 9 times out of 10. Yeah. And if I do take it the 10th time, he's gonna come get it back from me.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just his MO, and he just grinds and scores and makes everyone around him player. You could put 2 third liners on any other team with them, and they're gonna score 25 goals a year.
Yeah.
They do it every year.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as he loves it, you may as well.
Yeah.
He's the first guy at the rink, first guy on the ice,
And
the last guy off. Still
I was so surprised. He said, "I love it."
Yeah,
That's awesome.
And I'm like, "Good for you."
and you can see it, right? I mean, it's not really that much of a surprise.
35 years young, I guess you say with him, but just not missing a beat out there. I watch him play a lot, and he's so good. He does so many little things that people don't understand if they don't watch a lot of hockey. You understand it, but he does so many little things, man, and then the big things too. I mean,
He's got 15 more years to catch Jagr, so keep grinding, kid.
Yeah, keep grinding.
Well, he is special. I was going to ask you, just building off, elite players, Marner, 23 games. How do you see, that streak going? Obviously, it's going to end here probably in the near future, but Maple Leafs in general.
Yeah, well, they're hot too, right?
Yeah.
As good a season that Boston's had, and everyone's like, "Oh, Boston! I think Toronto's only 3 points behind them, maybe something like that, or two wins." So it's not like they're, I think they lost the 3 games out California trip against LA, Anaheim, and San Jose, and then the world ended in Toronto.
It's
like,
funny.
God, fire the coach, trade Matthews and Marner. If I get rid of them.
It's funny you say that because Brian said he was talking to you, and you guys were talking about that, and the whole Toronto was losing their mind.
Up in arms, like, settle down, people. Like, it's a long season, and then I don't think they've lost since 11-0-3 or 12-0-3 or something. I think they're 7-0 they won yesterday.
Yeah,
something
they
like
did. Have you talked to him lately?
Who's that? Sorry. Oh, that's bullshit. Third and last time here, guys. Nasty Knuckles.
Hey, listen, I've been pumping your tires. I'm sorry, man.
But you got me right in. I was right on every word.
Said, if I'm gonna get him, this is the only way. Because I've been pumping your. I work with the junior team, and we're all. Dude, D's nuts every day. And they're like, "Who's the master?" I'm like, "Scotty Hartnell." Couldn't ever get him. I said,
now he's gonna look like a legend.
No, but I said it's the only way. If I trick him in the middle of that, it's the only way I could get him. But honestly, we were talking to Jay Rosehill about that. Sorry, that's who we were talking to. I didn't get you the first time. I thought you were looking at me like you're not getting me. I didn't think I'd get you. But Rosie was funny about that because he was like. What was he saying? Fire! This guy's got to go. And then the next week, they're like, "Oh, this is the team. This is the team we need here."
Dozer, I did a little YouTube clip with him. I think it was a couple weeks ago or whatever. He's got like a 20-minute show at lunchtime or whatever.
Yeah. He's under that same umbrella we were talking about.
Yeah. So he's hilarious. And
he's funny. Yeah, he's doing well with it. I think he just recently got into that whole media kind of scene, but he was.
He's got a great personality.
He does
great personality, Scotty.
He does. He sounded just like him too. Yeah, he's a good dude. We had fun talking to him. I hadn't talked to him in a long.
It's been a while,
man, Rosie, but it was good to talk to him.
Yeah.
So what other you two chumps got for me? What else is going on here? I'm so mad at you right now.
Why are you mad at me? Why are you mad at me? That's the only second time I think ever, and you got me 20 times.
Oh man.
We were talking about Randy Robitaille, and he was like so good at it. Like he would be doing it like guys are lined up to go out. I'll never forget the one he said. I've told everybody this, but he looked at one of the boys and he goes, "Hey." Like, say it's you. He's like, "Hartsy, is that Bob Busby coaching in junior?"
Clinton Bigsby.
Bob Busby. And I'm like, and the guy's like, "Who?"
The best is, you got it on tape, but I'll be like, "Who?" Just fucking.
I thought you called me on the first one.
Honestly, I haven't heard that D's nuts in a long time. Since I wore the shirt back 15 years ago when I straightened my hair.
We were talking about that earlier. I said I'm not going to be able to get him, but I'm going to give a shot anyway.
We'll have to bring that one out of the archives.
Get it on the show.
I think Baller posted that one time.
We have before.
Your hair was straightened in that one too. As we're talking
beautiful.
about that. But yeah. Sorry. No, I can't believe it. He's mad at me. He's so fucking mad.
The show's over. Can I go home? Can I go out in the freezing cold again and wait for 10 minutes?
Wait outside while we do the post.
You're literally 15 seconds.
I'm like, usually it's open when we come in here, but whatever.
Oh, my God. I did have one more thing I wanted to ask. Honestly, Sedlak, you played with him.
Sedzipu, yeah.
Yeah. What's, Torch was like, can do everything. Basically, is the, as far as
he's great.
Utility guy.
He probably could have like 10 goals right now. I think he's got 3.
Yeah.
But like he's so competitive, good on draws, very conscientious defensively. But he's just always around the puck, right?
Yeah.
The puck is always finding him, right? And I'm like, this is the same Sedzi that I played with, and it was me, Sedzi, and Sam Gagner, fourth line in Columbus. I think it was Gagner's most points he's ever had in a season. He had 60 points.
Really?
Yeah, he had a lot on the power play, but I think I had 14 goals and 20 assists or something on the fourth line. And Seds was chipping in as well. So, yeah, just to hear the name when he was on waivers, I was like, I go 100. So I said to myself, 100% he's coming, 100%.
Yeah,
and sure enough, he came here and he hasn't disappointed. I think Torts or management, and he plays like this. He's gonna get another year or two out of the deal.
I agree,
just to be,
I think so as well.
To be that competitive, and couldn't happen to a better guy too.
Yeah,
I saw him down. They're playing kickball. Gave him a big hug when he came up.
Awesome.
So pretty cool.
It was funny. Torts. I don't know if I read it or I saw Torts talking about it, but he said once they got the deal done, like they picked him up, they're like he called him and said, "What the fuck is wrong with you? You want to go through this shit again?" With Torts.
Oh yeah. At least he missed training camp anyway.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Good point. Good point. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I think that was a good pickup for sure. I like it. I mean,
yeah,
fills that void. Well, that void. I mean, just an honest, consistent player.
Yeah, good penalty killer, and he's made a couple mistakes too. That led to goals late that lost the game, and so you can say that about almost everybody on the team, right? But I'm looking to forward to seeing Cam York getting called up, whether he stays for a long period of time, and just really impressed. I think everyone, right?
Yeah,
I don't think anyone really kind of. Everyone was surprised to see how much confidence he's playing with. The dangles, the move on the goal last night, and just the passing up the ice, back on the ice. So anyway, I was really impressed with his first few games.
Yeah. Saying that, Bird Dog, what if he does stay? I mean, it's hard to send a guy down when he's playing as well as he is. What do you do now? Now who comes out of the lineup? When Tony comes back?
Yeah, well, that's the coach's decision, right? Risto, do you bring up Bronner? Do you try and trade a guy earlier? So I'm not sure what you do, and it's good to have those lefty-righty pairs. I think in the NHL, but he looked pretty good on that offside.
He did.
I think it's just like Ghost. Gostisbehere, he'd love to play that right-hand side because he could make those. Fake, he could make those moves and escape way quicker than you only really have one way to go on that left-hand side as a defenseman. True. So maybe he stays on that side. Who knows? So
yeah, it's funny you mentioned Ghost because we were talking about him earlier. Like that play last night, it was like a mixture of Ghost and Cale Makar. Right?
Exactly.
It was like a pump fake, like really highlight reel. The knock on Ghost was always like after his first how many games of just like being ultra sexy and bringing this high energy. Like it was a consistency issues, right? There was holes in his game. I guess like before they make some sort of decision on like where he fits in is like getting a few more games under his belt.
Absolutely,
and to maintain this level.
It's always easy to come up or come back from an injury. In those first 2-3 games, you're so jacked up, you're fired up, and then it's like just like an NHL season. Flyers jacked up this year again, 7-2-2, and then the grind. Yeah, right. Every team takes these guys seriously. Maybe they are good now. It's kind of back down to where the Flyers have been and kind of what everyone thought they're going to be, and. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how in 5-6 games from now how he's playing, how he's battling, how he's competing against some of the top lines. I'm sure he's going to have those opportunities too. Can you be a top guy? Let's see you play against Draisaitl and McDavid when they come to town, right? And give him a real good test, a good look. And Torts wants to know. He said it time and time again. I want to see what we have here. I want to see what we have. This is not a quick fix. I want to get the foundation. Talked about that too. So it's you need to take a look at guys and that's what it's going to be. And that's guys are going to be scratched. Guys are going to be sat out for they're not going to like it. No one likes getting scratched. Your ego's hurt. Your heart's hurt. Like you want to cry, right? But it's you get back on your saddle the next day and you prove to him and the other coaches why he should be back in. I scratched a bunch of times with Torts and Lavy and at the end of my career and it's brutal, right? Like, how can you scratch me? I'm Scott Hartnell, but maybe it is better for the team, right? So you just suck up your pride and get your ass out there and keep grinding, because then eventually you're going to get a chance to show why you should be back in, right?
Right.
So,
exactly. Yeah, for sure. And talking about Yorkie too, real quick. He's got that length to him. He's kind of taller, lanky, and I'm not comparative to Makar, obviously, but that move last night was Makarish.
Yeah, it was Makarish.
You know what I mean? Like, and he's got that quick stride with those long legs. He can kind of create a little bit of space.
And good to defend like that too. You can tell him when he's defending, right? And he guys going wide on him, he can take that crossover and get the stick in there, stick on puck, and that kind of threat is kind of stop right there, and he can kind of get better defensive position, gets the forwards back in play. So he's got some good defensive side of him as well. I like it.
Yeah, and he was teaching that forward.
That's what he said last
night.
He said he reached, and I was teaching.
Yeah, so hopefully he can keep that up.
Yeah, he is confident.
He's confident.
He's definitely a confident player, and that's what Torch said actually the other night. He said, I like his confidence with the puck and the way he's playing.
You got to have it.
I mean, you have to.
Yeah, it's the only other way. Well, Hartsy, we appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. Third and last time.
Come on,
it's
man.
An antique now.
We'll pull the D's nuts.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You got me fair and square.
I cannot believe it still, but you're the master still. You're the master of the game. But we do appreciate
Rusty.
you. Yeah, Rusty. I caught him. He was freezing. You're still cold. He's Riles has that heater behind you there. We made him turn it off. But we do appreciate you, man. You're doing an unbelievable job.
Thanks, guys.
Flyers, obviously, and NHL Network. It's fun to watch you. Elvis gets pumped up every day when you're on there, when he sees
love
you.
It.
But we do appreciate your time, man. I know you're busy. Beautiful family, man. Keeps growing. You're staying busy at home. Every time
Not anymore.
you got another kid.
Snippy Lusky last year, so
no.
she's done. Oh yeah,
okay.
She's done like dinner now, but
Neil Littles had the worst experience. Sorry, Litz, but he would tell you, he was like, "Don't do it, don't do it." Oh, he had a really bad experience, but I'm glad you didn't.
I was a couple days. I milked it for 2 days, but like, hey, can I get some more peas? And can I get dinner on the couch again?
So, meanwhile, you ran a few miles. Going.
I actually golfed 2 days later too. You're okay to golf? You weren't okay last night when you went to bed. Oh no, I'm fine. See you in 6 hours.
Oh, that's great, man. But we appreciate you and love you, brother.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Good to see you.
All right, a big thank you to our good friend Bird Dog, Scott Hartnell.
Bob Busby.
What a beauty.
What a beauty. Great having him. Busy man. 3 kids.
Oh, my God.
At home, and NHL. He was on NHL Network last night, kicking it. Heading to play a little tennis now with our buddy Kimo Timonen right now.
He is, yeah. And he's flustered. You got him. He's pissed.
I almost felt bad, but he was the master. He's the master, and I
didn't see it coming. He blindsided him.
I said when he was in here, I thought he knew what I was doing when I said it the first time because
you looked over here and winked, and I was like, oh, he's catching on here.
Yeah, I thought he caught on to what I was doing, and then I got him. And did you see how red he got?
Oh, we got it.
Boys, you gotta get
extra
the
zoom,
look at
extra
his face.
zoom in.
He was mad at me, and then obviously said he's not coming back because I nutsed him. I apologize, Bird Dog. He is the master. You could never get this guy.
I know.
And I was shocked because I really thought he
I think he's just been out of the game so long that he's just like not around that type of scenario anymore.
He has been, but I've texted him before because if you get someone in a text, you become the master. And I've tried to get him, and that's why I was shocked. But I think doing the show,
he didn't see it coming.
He didn't see it coming, so I asked him
when
I was sharpening his son Wesley Snipes, I call him, his skates, and I said, you may take that out. You're pretty upset. He goes, nope, fair game. It was all fair, but he's gonna come after me.
He's coming after
me now.
You gotta keep your head on a swivel.
But yeah, I know. But we love him, man. He's the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate his time.
All right, Nast.
I think it's time.
I think so.
For the Clear Questions. Brought to you by Clear Rum.
Oh, yeah. Let's go, baller.
Let's go.
Hey, we got an email from Jeff Wingfeld. He said, a question for Derek. What did Paul Holmgren say to the team after the loss against Washington in 2013 when Ray Emery fought Braden Holtby?
it was actually, I hate to say comical, but it was a terrible loss. But I'll never forget, Ray, I'm watching all the fights go on, and then, you see the great late Razor come flying down.
Yeah.
And, everybody knows what happens.
Poor Holtby.
So Razor's in the locker room, so I'm the first guy into the room. And I'm like, I mean, it's hard not to love it, although you do kind of feel bad for Holtby. But he didn't really get hurt, thank God.
Yeah.
But anyway, I come in, and I'm like looking at Razor, and he gives me that shit-eating grin look, and he's just kind of laughing. And I'm like, and I literally said, "What'd you say?" And Razor said, I said, "We're going." And he said, "No, we're not." And he goes, and Razor said, so I told him, "Protect yourself because I'm going."
Yeah.
And then Homer took them a little bit longer to get down from the elevator.
Sure.
So he comes down, and he's walking down the hall. And he kind of has a smirk on his face with me, but he's got to be careful because the media is getting ready to come in and everything. And he goes, and he leans into me, and he goes, "I like that."
Yeah.
And then
Of course
I just
he did.
kind of laughed, and of course he did.
Yeah.
But we went on a streak after that.
Yeah.
We won a lot of games, and people had their thoughts on it. Razor, I mean, I love the guy, and he got us. He was pissed off.
Yeah, of course. He's an emotional guy.
And doesn't mean that's the greatest thing to do all the time. But Homer didn't hate it. To answer the question, obviously,
a couple of silent fist pumps.
Yeah, there were definitely some fist bumps going on. I actually remember when we played in Van, and you got scratched that night, and Jesse.
Oh, it was the
Bowlery's
first
played
three games of the year there.
and he tagged my buddy Ryan Kessler. He didn't get him that great, but it still swung his
25
stick.
games worth.
Yeah, he got it. And I remember one of our top people with the team, I don't want to say his name, I love him, but he was half kidding, half serious. He walked by me, he goes, "Just sold a lot of tickets." Because of Philadelphia, the whole thing. But obviously he wasn't condoning stick swinging at someone's face. But so to answer the question, sorry, I don't think Homer was really upset about it.
He was not.
He was not.
Dylan McCall over on Instagram. What are you guys' thoughts on the Coyotes' new college barn?
Oof. I mean, I guess they're making do with what they got in the situation they're in. I mean, obviously it's probably not ideal for an NHL franchise to be playing that building, but again, the fans are limited, and they got to pay bills, and it's a business. So I mean, I don't know what else to say besides they're trying to keep the machine alive.
I would hate to see that team leave that area. The building looks nice, but it holds how many people? We thought it was odd when Winnipeg, brought the NHL back, and their building doesn't hold as many as obviously as most, but it does look like a nice building. I'm not sure about the facilities, if they've been able to make something nice.
Right.
Yeah, for the visiting team. It looked like the Flyers locker room post game. They were interviewing the snowman Frosty, and it looked like they had at least had real stalls up and all that.
Well, that's good. You got to.
Which is, you have to. I feel like that should have been done before preseason, to be honest with
I
you.
agree.
But I do feel bad for the team, but at least that's about, you should fill that barn every night. And at least I saw Commodore had a comment about it that he's like, "It's actually not bad." He's like pretty loud. And then someone goes, "How much did they pay you to say that?"
Yeah.
But it it is what it is. It is kind of weird for National Hockey League. I mean, that's an American League type building, and even most are bigger than that.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
yeah, it's an interesting situation. I do agree. I'd rather be a smaller building, more filled up, more energy versus a large full size NHL building, and then the lower bowl is half filled. And just we were there last yeir. It was half Flyers fans.
It really was.
And it was louder when the Flyers scored. It was just it's hard to, I don't know. You can't say it's hard for the guys to get motivated to play in that environment because they're getting paid a lot of money and they're pros, but like you know how it is. Like, energy is real, and you'd rather play in a smaller barn and feel that energy and feel like you're supported by your fans. So, it is what it is. They're trying to keep that thing afloat, and that's the situation they're in.
Did you guys see that brawl that was in the stands last
I did.
week?
Yeah.
Someone
right.
got a finger bitten off.
Yeah.
Well, where are you putting your finger in someone's mouth?
A little fish hook.
I
bite it off too.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. Wow, that was Boston fans, wasn't it? Was it Boston that they were playing? Who was that?
There's been a couple of brawls in the stands.
I feel like Boston was in there. I could be wrong. I'm sorry if I am, but like you said though, Roz, about the arena, like when they were playing there, energy is something, man, and it. Yes, the players have to show up to play. Of course they do, and they know that. But man, it's nice to go out and the barn's packed and the people are going nuts. Yeah. You just get an adrenaline rush, right? So, that brawl was sick, baller. Actually, it's crazy. That's scary, man. When people start swinging, you don't know who's behind you. Oh. It's some scary shit, man. I don't know. I probably, as tough as I am, I would still run away.
Yeah. Oh, the quick little pins there.
Oh yeah, I'd run. I can run. I can't skate, but I can run.
You can run. You got the quick feet.
Quick.
Yeah.
One more over on Twitter from Notorious PIG. What is more difficult, finding the perfect gift for your lady or getting a skate to fit FOPA?
Oh, wow. That's a tough one. You got that one,
man. Yeah, like poor FOPA, man. Like, gosh, I don't know. I think we talked about this before. We went up and bought him a pair of 9D skates, I think, or 8D, whatever it was, just right out of the store. He went out and practiced. And, I mean, I think he could have been out there and anything and been the best player on the ice. He was that special of a player. But he looked unreal, like flying, like doing all this stuff. And we're like, hey, like, you obviously felt good. No. They're too big. They're not too big, like, and he was scrunching his toes in there, man, and couldn't figure out, just so many things went into that. But I would say probably trying to find a skate to fit.
Yeah, I would say the same. I was the one dealing with it.
Unfortunately, man, like, God, you can't say enough good things about him. But it just always, his feet, he just killed it. Like, he just couldn't get comfortable. And it's crazy. You watch him play.
Yeah, I know.
And
you would never think there's anything wrong.
You would never, ever, ever think anything was wrong. It almost makes you think, like, well, what about your first few years in the league?
Yeah.
Like, why not just, companies, it's funny. Like, I know Taylor Hall had Bauer make him, like, 50 pair of the skates he was wearing a few years ago when they went to that change into the new Vapor because he didn't like them. So he actually bought, like, so many pair, 50. I think that's the number. He was in Jersey, and because he did not want to get out of that skate. All the companies tell you they run out of that material, but there's no way they're running out of that material. They just want, now they kind of they put the cosmetics.
So the kids see it.
If it's your skates, you don't want to change. They'll do the cosmetics to make them look like it. They do that with sticks with guys, like we talked about Jeff Carter with his sticks. But yeah, man, it's. Folks just could not get comfortable, man.
Did he wear his skates like a size too small? Yeah, he did. Yeah, some guys do that.
Well, that was the thing. Like, he didn't think they were small, but I'll never forget the one day this gentleman came in to try to make him a pair of skates, and it wasn't from a normal company. It was this guy thought he could fix his problem, and I said, take your insoles out of your Bauer. So he took the insoles out, and when he placed his foot down, his toes were this far over the insole. So obviously you're scrunching your toes. Well, when you scrunch your toes, now your knees buckling, you're growing.
The arch is a little bit more
everything
it flexed.
All the issues he started having were because of his and I'm not
over
a doctor.
Time, right? It's over
doctor.
time and years of wearing scrunched skates probably was.
I mean, Paul Coffey's the only guy that did it and didn't complain about it. Yeah. Like he was able to do it, but poor Peter, you just felt so bad for him because you knew it wasn't any sort of an excuse. The guy would still try to play, and he just did not feel comfortable, and he felt like, unfortunately, he was letting the team down because he couldn't be 100%, but we used to say to him, you at 75%.
Exactly. Now, who plays at 100% anyways?
Exactly. So
you do, I know, because you're you're a high-skill guy and staying out of the corners.
I don't want to go in corners, man. Just keep me out of there. You're supposed to protect me, dude.
I am.
But when you went from the riggedy riles to the cuddles.
Oh, God.
Here we go again. I got to be gentle with you.
You got to be gentle, yeah.
But to answer that question, FOPA would be tougher.
He would be. Well, that's a wrap, Nast.
I'll tell you what I got to remind you of because you've been forgetting
I got my flight booked.
You got your flight booked February 15th.
Yeah.
You know where we're going.
I know exactly where we're going.
I've never been to Seattle.
Never?
Never been there.
Oh, man. Look
Fans
out.
of Philly, if you have not booked this trip, try to book it. It may be packed because I know it's a really popular one. We're going to go to Seattle. We're going to see our buddy Hack.
Yep.
And a high-scoring team in the
Yes.
Kraken. And then heading to Van, which we've both been there before.
Are we heading to the Roxy or are we heading to Van?
We have to.
Yeah.
You have to go.
We're going to the Roxy, and then
Yes.
we'll probably just pop in to see a hockey game.
Yes.
We'll
We're
see.
going to be with our good friends, Fans of Philly. Check them out, fansofphilly.com. Best sports travel agency around,
Yes.
and they just do an unbelievable job.
Yep.
It's definitely the best, and can't wait. It's been a while, man.
Been a while.
I'm
Got
itching.
the itch, yep.
Itching. Got to get Joe. Where's Joe? I haven't even talked to this
Bring
guy
him
in
back
about
on here, man.
10 minutes.
Let's go. 10 minutes. Yeah, well, looking forward to it as well.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it'll be a good one. So that's a wrap. Episode 97 in the books.
97, Debo.
That is crazy. Creeping on hundo.
One hundo.
All right. Until next week, appreciate you guys. Take care.